Then what would you say is the reason that almost everyone feels that they can create little things, but they feel like they can't create the larger things?
It is because they are not understanding the law, and they are hinging what can be based upon what has been. But when you understand the laws, then you understand that it is not more difficult to create a castle than it is a button. They are equal. It is not more difficult to create $10 million than $100,000. It is the same application of the same law to two different intentions.
What do you see happens when a person is wanting to test these laws or principles to prove them to someone else? To saying, let me show you what I can do with this. Does that have any bearing on the effectiveness of it?
Others can be discouraging, for as they are not believing, they may influence you to some doubt. There is not a need to prove anything to anyone with words. Let that which you are, let that which you are living be your clear example to uplift others.
Why do you feel that so many of us in physical form have this need to justify any good that comes to us?
Physical man has long been programmed, we will use your word, to believe in his unworthiness. There is a very powerful thought here in your physical dimension that says you are not worthy, but you are here to prove yourselves worthy. And we say to you, you are not here to prove yourselves worthy. You are here by the power of your ability to create. It was by the power of your wanting and by the power of your allowing, indeed by your application of the very laws that we are discussing here, that you have emerged into this place. And your physical existence here is proof of your worthiness or deservedness to be or do or have whatever is here, you see. Mm-hmm. You have come forth as creators, not as regurgitators. When you are in the mode of justifying, you are usually in a negative mode, for you are not focused upon what you are wanting. You are trying to convince others that it is all right, and you need not. It is all right.
So many of the people that I've seen have had tremendous results in their life. Joyous things happen materially and relationships and health-wise. Don't seem to put out that much energy to get them, seem to put out less than a lot of the other folks. So where does the physical work, or action as we call it, part fit into your recipe for creating what we want?
Your thought is the beginning of all creating, and your action follows forth from the thought. Your action is more powerful than thought, actually. For it is thought reinforced with word and reinforced with physical movement. Your thought, word, and action all dovetail together rather nicely in this creative process. As you set forth your thought of what you are wanting in your future, you say, I'm wanting health, I'm wanting vitality, I'm wanting prosperity, I'm wanting safety, I'm wanting harmonious interaction with others. You set forth a sort of pre-paving of your future. When you say today that tomorrow you are intending to accomplish such and such, you begin the paving of tomorrow even before you get there. And so the action in the moment does not need to do so much of the work if your thought in advance has done more of the pre-paving. You are more physical action sort of beings now because you are not yet understanding the power of your thought. When you are better at applying your deliberate thought, there will not be so much action for you to tend to. For example, let us say that you are walking down a street and you look over and you see that there is a big bully, by your estimation, beating up on a smaller person. And the smaller one is really being hurt. You are faced with an uncomfortable choice, for your options seem to you in the speed of this moment to be only two. You can get involved and perhaps risk your own safety, or you may walk away and let them live their own experience, letting whatever happens happen. In either case, you are not happy, for you are not wanting to get hurt yourself, and you are not wanting the other one to be hurt. You are at the point of action. And no matter how much thought you think right now, the thought is too late. Now you must take action one way or another. You must stay and fight or run. Had you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, or even 1 day ago, even this morning, set forth your clear intent for safety, you would not find yourself in this position, for the universe would have provided a different set of circumstances for you. The one who sees himself as Savior, the one who sees himself saving little ones from big ones, finds himself walking into that sort of situation often by his prepaving of intent.
I have told people that my observation had been that those who worked the hardest had the least, and those who worked the least had the most through life. And yet somebody had to dig the potatoes and milk the cows and drill the holes for the oil, and do the hard work. Explain to me how it all works out so that each of us can still have what we want no matter what has to be done.
You are living in what we see as a perfectly balanced universe. If you could see yourself as a chef in a well-stocked kitchen, all ingredients that have ever been imagined are there in abundant proportion to make whatever sort of recipe you are wanting. It is our absolute knowing that if your society decided that they did not want to do a certain task, that by the power of your wanting, you would come forth with another way of doing it, another idea.
What are the chief differences in our life in physical form and your life in non-physical form? What do we have that you don't have?
We must point out to you that while you are a physical being here focused in the physical, that there is a part of you that exists even now simultaneously in the non-physical dimension. It is a matter of focus. Here you are focused in a physical dimension where you are entered into the agreements of this physical time and space and all of the earthly laws that exist. It is a nice environment for fine-tuning your knowledge. For here, your thoughts do not translate into instant equivalent. You have a buffer of time. And so as you set forth your thoughts of what you are wanting, you must become very clear, clear enough that emotion comes forth before you begin the attracting process. And even then you must allow it and expect it into your experience before it comes. And that sort of buffer provides you much opportunity to be very clear. If you were in a dimension where you're instantly manifesting, you would spend more of your time trying to get rid of your mistakes, as many of you are doing anyway, than you would in creating the things that you are wanting.
What is it in that buffer zone that culls out the unwanted from our thoughts before it physically manifests?
In most cases, it is not culled out. That is why most people you know have a little bit of the things they like and a little bit of the things that they don't like. They are creating most everything by default because they do not understand the rules of the game. They do not understand the laws. But to one who is coming to understand these universal, eternal laws, and by that we mean they exist even in your ignorance of them and they exist in all dimensions, for those, then their awareness to the way they are feeling is what makes the difference.
When you're visualizing or thinking about something that you're wanting, should you be looking at the means of attaining it as well as what you're wanting to attain, or would it be smarter to just look at the final result only and let the means more or less take care of themselves?
If you already have identified that you are wanting to participate in the specific means, then it is all right to give your attention to that. The key to know whether you are not specific enough or too specific is by the way you are feeling. As you are in your workshop, the specifics of your thought will bring forth the enthusiasm or the positive emotion. But if you become too specific before you have collected enough data, then you will feel doubtful or fearful. And so it is a matter of paying attention to seeking the balance of the way you feel, being specific enough that you feel positive, but not so specific that you begin feeling negative.
Let's say I said I wanted to be a teacher in a very joyous situation. Would it be any advantage to say, well, then I should decide whether I want to teach history or math or philosophy, or I want to teach high school, or...
That is all right. Let us take that example. I'm wanting to be teacher. And begin pondering your reasons for wanting to be teacher, even writing them, as in the exercise we offered earlier.
Okay.
I want to be teacher, and these are the reasons that I want to be. I'm wanting to uplift others to the joy that I have found in knowing these things. As you are feeling good about the things that you know, you may add that specificness to your creation. But then as you are trying to be specific and you say, but I really am not very well versed upon this subject, then you begin feeling negative emotion, which is your inner being saying, back away from the specifics of this, you have not collected enough data. And then you may say, but I'm not knowing where I should teach. Let me think about it. Well, I would like to teach in a setting where there were those who were wanting to hear. And as I think about the organized school system, I see that most of them are there as captives, not as wanters. They are there because the law says they have to be. And I remember when I was a student in school, I was not reaching or seeking. And so you begin to ponder those sorts of situations where the student is there by his choice to be there. Perhaps a college, or perhaps that which is not formal education. You will know by the way you feel.
But you can go by just envisioning the end result and let the details take care of themselves completely.
Indeed, as you see your end results, you will begin collecting data to give you more specifics. And you will know by the way you feel as you collect the data whether it is appropriate or not.
And how detailed would you recommend our thoughts be about the end result of what we're wanting?
As detailed as you can be and still feel positive.
Is there any way that a person could possibly erase the slate of all the yesterday's experiences and thoughts that aren't any advantage to our joyous creating in this moment?
It is a matter of giving your attention to something else. In other words, when you say, I'm not going to think of something, immediately you are thinking of what you have said you would not think of. And so rather than trying so hard to erase the past, focus on the present. Give thought to what you are wanting.